Hi, my name is Greg Hinc, and I'm inspired of curiosity. I'm about to be on online prosperity show, which I'm about to share my own journey. I'm a life business coach, consultant, and counselor, and I'm supporting you through your own journey of self-discovery, changing your ways of thinking, and changing your status quo.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and the lovely souls out there, welcome to another enlightening episode of the Online Prosperity Show. I'm your host, Prosper Taruvinga, and today we're going to be diving into the depths of inspiration with a guest who's not just about business, but is also about life itself. Now, I want you to get ready for laughter, insights, and a sprinkle of wisdom because we have none other than Greg Hinc, who's gracing the screens today. Now, Greg, jak się masz?
Ah, Mam się dobrze.
Yeah, dumb shit,
Thanks,
dumb
thanks for
shit.
asking.
That's what I should say, right? Dumb shit.
Dobrze, that sounds good. Yeah, perfectly
Uh,
fine.
Great stuff. Well, that is Greg, the inspirer of curiosity. Now, let me tell you something. Greg is not your average coach, a consultant, or counselor. He's actually the inspirer of curiosity, a guru of self discovery, and a beacon of authenticity. I want you to buckle up because this actually promises to be one of the best episodes we've had in a while. Now, Greg, I could go on and talk about your accolades and everything else that's about you. You are here to inspire curiosity. Tell us, what's your journey been like becoming the inspirer of curiosity that you are today?
First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's been a pleasure to be here and be a part of what you are doing, your great mission to share the knowledge and insight with others. And yeah, I'm also part of this kind of journey myself. So in a way, it's similar to you. So of my journey, say that I started as a many of others. So I was a more introverted person as a kid. And yeah, I had, of course, had to adapt to adjust to others, but it was not aligned with me. So that was the first, let's say, difficulties as with everyone. So we were forced a bit to adjust, to adapt, to be part of the group. But always a bit of a standout in the crowd, was the outlier in some way, more introspective, more reflective. That's the difficulties happen. And from then it's was going. I was more and more, let's say, adapting to it, but in the process losing myself in some way. So yeah, it was a long and difficult journey for me for quite a while, with plenty of tensions and trying to find a balance between myself and finding the my fit into the group. Mm, During this process, I was more introspective, as I've mentioned, and more reflective. I was also pretty much always more into the psychology, philosophy, introspective. And through this, I would say develop some kind of challenges in my mind. So I was trying to figure it out, what's the purpose of life, how we are doing, what we are doing, etc. So in the end, combining with this, let's say, denying of myself in general, I was going more and more into the more down state, pretty much to the depressive state. And for years, I've been there for quite a long, up to a suicidal thoughts, even a suicide attempt. And after that, that was about 9 years ago. Only then I realized what I have been missing, and the most important lesson from this, let's say, journey, this situation, and all over the years back, was that what we are thinking isn't always the truth, and whatever we are thinking, all the we are thinking is not the whole truth. So it's always something more up there that we are not perceiving, we are not seeing, and everything that we are believing in that's not what it can be. It can be much more, it can be different, and everyone is different. They have their own words created in their own minds. So it's up to us that we can just shift the mindset, be someone else, think differently, change our beliefs, and first of all, change what we are currently thinking that can be not supportive for us. So even previously, before all these states, I've been pretty much constantly into helping others, trying to understand them, support them in their journey, as I was more reflective, as mentioned. But after that, after let's say this shift in my mindset, then I was more focused on really making it more tangible, more into data. So I just deep dive into all the training, starting from the leadership, management, pretty much everything on the business side was just consuming over and over. But then more into psychology, coaching that even years before I was considering some kind of studies on it. But then it was developed further and further into that, more on the practical side, more on the coaching, consulting of the people supporting into this journey. So I'm at this stage believing that it's a never-ending journey. You're constantly developing yourself, learning more. And in this process, as you are sharing it with others, you're also just clashing your perspective with others, which is so completely beneficial for all of us as we are just opening our minds to what other perspective can be. And through this, we are also changing our way of thinking. What I mentioned, the most important part, that we are not close with what it is as it is, but we are just expanding our way of thinking. So I'm really constantly into learning and learning more and sharing all the knowledge I'm just acquiring. This is the biggest drive for me.
Absolutely, man. Thank you so much for taking us through that, because your life story and your experience really has now emanated into what it is that you're now doing, because you actually pull people out of the status quo, right? And it's you want to show people the world of possibilities, and you want to leave them higher than they can possibly imagine. But that's not what it was like for you. You were going through a lot of stuff, like you mentioned, even went borderline suicidal and even made that attempt. What made you then really focus on, wait a minute, I really need to make a change in my life? Because so many things would have been happening in your life that really would have taken, we wouldn't have been having this conversation right now.
Mhm. Yeah, in the end, it comes down to the one single point when you are just realize that, okay, if I'm ready to kill myself, then I can do anything. Nothing is stopping me. What's the point, right? It can be the end or it could be just the beginning. If I'm ready to do that, so I can do anything. What's stopping me, right? So many people are just have to go to the very bottom, hit the bottom to break their egos, crack them open, and find the possibilities that are around them. To just change what they are thinking. Because yeah, all beliefs are just dragging us down. Because that's the fixed mindset. This is how it is, and you can change nothing. Oh shit. But yeah, there are plenty of possibilities if you're willing to just take part, make some effort, you have the motivation. Without the motivation, without the belief that something can change, nothing will change. And it's
Right.
a huge difference for all of us. If we believe that we can shift our perspective, then we can do this. And if I was preparing some post for the next week, I was going through some thinking about that. Perspective impacts everything from the basics like our perspective on stress or emotions, behaviors. Pain is completely subjective, but what we are thinking, what we are believing in, it also impacts even our muscles, strength, or development, how many calories we absorb from food. So pretty much everything. So it all comes down to our mind, what we are believing in, our own perspective, how we are seeing things. If you are seeing it positively, you can develop, it happens. It's not some magic pill that we are just creating our reality through our minds alone. But from the mind, it comes the effort, the motivation. And yeah, I've seen and heard about so many examples that people go through some tremendous experiences that could break many of them, but they are just going beyond it and even stronger. So it all comes down to our mindset, our motivation behind that, and from this everything can change. And so it was in my case, I just needed to just crack open my ego to my things, how I perceive them, and change my way of thinking. And instead of just trying to fit in, please everyone around me, be the way they want to be seen, to be seen, I just started to live on my own rules, and that made the difference.
Fantastic. And obviously, having come from Poland, that's a whole different world culture and everything else to the culture that you're sort of living in Ireland right now. What brought about this change and how did you go about it?
Yeah. Uh, you know, as I mentioned from the very beginning, I never felt like I fit in. So in Poland, I would say the mindset is a bit challenging, let's say. More negative. People are often complaining about many stuff. And yeah, that's really just dragging you down in many ways. So yeah, I was looking for something better, so more open culture and the environment, as well as the more stable weather. In Poland, you can go from -20 in the winter Celsius to up to 30 Celsius in the summer, even in apartments. So it's like a bit extremes. At least here, it's much more stable weather, so it's more like I'm used to. I used to like. And yeah, the culture is amazing here comparing to Poland, I would say. I'm not saying that always wrong with the people there, but here people just walking by, you're just smiling, greeting you, etc. Uh, at first, I was like, what's wrong with them? What's going on here? Do they know something? Do they know me or what? But it's typical here. People are just positive to others and just supportive. There's always someone that's willing to help you. So yeah, it's a tremendous shift, and it's also impacting me, comparing to what I'm used to, and it's much more calmer, much more supportive. So yeah, of course, in this kind of environment, you can grow more easily and fully be yourself as you are more accepted, appreciated the way you are.
I like that. So for so many people, they would just be, living in that sort of environment because fish do not see the water that they swim in, or people don't see the air that they breathe in. Only when you take yourself out of a comfort zone is when you can actually start noticing the difference. And now you can start seeing, wait a minute, I was being shortchanged. Now I'm living in a very good life. You see, I'm saying the same because I also had to move from Africa and coming to Australia, and there's a whole big difference in the economy and the way people deal with each other and things like that. But in your line of work, you might have people asking or maybe saying things like, my life is great, I don't need any changes. What would you comment with that and say when things like that happen?
One thing about the fish, as I'd like to say, only that fish goes with the flow. I'm also always changing what's going on. I was looking on the other side, trying to balance things. That's kind of my thing and my critical thing about everything. So yeah, it can get people irritated about that's not being positive and supportive, but yeah, it's my thing. And yeah, people often see that their kind of life is good enough, but what I would like to say, it always can be better. There's no line that it cannot be better, you cannot improve, you cannot change how it is. And as we are all living through some kind of perspective and comparing one stuff to another, if we haven't been through something, we don't know it, we haven't experienced it, there's nothing to compare to. So even it is some at the lowest level or the highest level, there can always be some extremes, right? If you don't experience it, if you don't believe it can be better or it can be worse, then it's not. You cannot see it. You cannot compare to it. So if you believe your life is good, great. You don't have to invest your time and energy to improve further, but you just have to have in mind that it can be better. You can be more effective, you can be more happy, you can have more always. If you are willing to invest in it, you all have the motivation to do something about it. It's no end, and even if you are just considering how people are changing, the whole culture around the world, it's constantly improving. But as people are living in, and you're just looking back a few years, many of them will say that nothing is changing in the positive way, or even this getting worse. But as you look at the data, oh, it is improving and tremendously, but they are just not seeing it. And that's the point. So yeah, we are living in our own mind bubbles that we are creating. And if we are believing that we cannot improve, we won't improve. And we are saying that things are not improving, they are not in our minds. And that's what matters. That's how it impacts us. It's not what the reality is, what the data shows, but what we are believing in.
Oh, fantastic. I quite like that a lot. And your journey has obviously taken you through various industries and so many experiences. How has all these diverse experiences sort of influenced now your coaching and consulting style? Because you've got the best of both worlds happening for you there.
Mhm. Yeah, that's what one of my other things. I just love to connect the dots. So the more broader the knowledge I have, the more things I see. I just really not into the specialized approach. It's so narrow-minded. That's what I would like to combine, coaching, consulting, therapy with the business approach, more on the neuroscience, but also with the philosophy, sometimes more into even the religion part of the philosophy. So it's all connected. And only through this you can really see the broad picture and can adapt to people with different mindset, because everyone needs to have their own message, their own language. Even a single word or phrases means something to that person. It's the way they are communicating, the way they are approaching things. If you adapt to their style, it's more likely that they will find it more useful for them, the impact to them, right? So
Hmm.
the more broadly you see things, the easier you can adapt to people, but also to concept, the more you can see to improve things. And yeah, you're just learning to have more this open mind. And through this, the more you know, the more you are just realize how much you don't know. And through this, you can just constantly challenge your thinking and see more of the stuff. So yeah, I've been through many industries, many roles, switching some of the skills, constantly evolving in it. But through this, I think I'm a really diverse person that can learn, can adapt. And as we are just shifting in how world works, it's more and more about learning new skills, acquiring new knowledge. It's not about what you know now, but what you can learn, right? As you know yourself, it's always about learning and developing. Of course, you can stay as it is now. That's fine. If it suits you, okay. But just don't expect that the world won't change and that the world won't impact how you are, even though you are not changing. So
Uh,
if you don't grow and the world is growing, obviously, you can just stay behind, you can lose your job, lose your stuff. It's not like you are just acquiring once and for all and nothing is will change. So yeah, it depends on what you like to do and how your mind works. I just prefer to expand my knowledge and see things more broadly and be able to adapt, especially to people mindset and how they are seeing things. And yeah, this it's really helpful for me in my work and in understanding people, especially to often challenge my default way of thinking when it's fixed and it's working through my own experience and my own mindset. So I'm used to always questioning why this person is doing what they are doing, because for sure there is a reason and they are making the right decision for themselves based on their experience. You just have to understand what it is.
Absolutely, because you have to walk a mile in somebody's shoes for you to be able to actually see what they're going through. Now, when you have figured out that maybe this person might be going the wrong direction, what sort of specific techniques or models do you then employ when you're working with your clients, which puts them back on the straight and narrow?
Of course, that depends on what you are working on, what the person wants, because it often starts, for example, from the most basics, like a job. There's something wrong with that. They want to career shift, or there's some issue with their boss, whatever. So I can just focus on that, or we can just take it more broadly and start from the basics. That's why I prefer to do, to just give them the more basic knowledge on how we are working from the neurological side, the basic of the body, the mindset, etc. So through this, they understand what's going on inside them, the mechanism. They can just find why they are doing what they are doing. They get the knowledge, and they are not relying on me only. They have the tools, which I'm also sharing with them. I'm not just like I'm their guide, and they can work through something with me. I'm sharing what I'm using, so just can go back also to my notes all from the process. Just go through it again to understand things better. But what I'm just constantly repeating to my clients, the most important is know yourself. From this, everything goes smoothly, but it's already to it. So if you are seeing yourself as a one person, you have some kind of identity created for yourself, your roles, that's limiting.
Mhm.
Whatever goes beyond this, you won't accept it. So if you are seeing yourself as someone who, for example, can't sing, you won't be able to sing. You can dance, whatever. Can't work with people, communicate properly, sail, whatever. Doesn't matter. If you see yourself as someone who can't do that, you will be trying to confirm that perspective, that identity. So you have to change that and see yourself beyond that. To this standard growth mindset and seeing things that could be not how they are. But in this, you also have to find the motivation, the you can create yourself, the impact yourself. So it's something that people are often find it difficult. They think that it's okay, I'm as I am, nothing can change. This is my personality, this is my background, this is my story, and nothing can change. It's how it is. I can just accept it. No, it's not. You can always influence yourself, change yourself. There's no end to it. And this knowledge alone, the acceptance of it, it allows you to change the way you are, especially that uh, as on neurological side, the neural plastics, so our ability to change our minds on a neural level, it comes down to the very need, the motivation. So, for
Mm.
example, if you are believing strongly in something, the change in your mind, shift in your mind, the learning comes much more faster, more naturally. For example, if you have to change something just to survive, you're just put to the pressure, you have to do this, there's no other way. Of course, you will learn much faster, right?
Right.
So yeah, it comes down to the motivation. And often people are just trying to change something, but they are coming down to, okay, let's give me the magic pill. 1 hour and I want my life to be changed, completely renewed, and everything should be great. No,
Six
it's not
minute
going to
abs.
happen.
I just do six sit-ups and then already checking for
Yeah,
abs?
yeah. Yeah, so yeah, it's sometimes it's kind of insane, you know. It's not how it works. Of course, if you have the motivation, if you have the dedication, you are working on yourself daily. That's why I really encourage people to work not only with me once 1 hour a week. If they are not putting the effort daily, they are not going back to this stuff and not trying to change, nothing will change, really. It's all comes down in the end to habits, to how you are thinking, just repeating the process. It's just as any learning. You have to rewire your brain. It has to be changed on the neurological level that different neurons have to fire in this situation. So it's
Mm.
the basics of learning. You have to just repeat the process over and over and over and over. And the more motivation, the less repeatable it had to be. So yeah, the most important, you can just change yourself. You need the motivation and just put the effort. The more you just put there, the faster it will change. But what often people don't realize and don't go through is how much our environment impacts us.
Right.
So if we don't have the support of our close people, of our loved ones in the change, it won't happen. So if
Hmm.
in the end, if we come down to the situation we can change and lose the acceptance of our loved ones, of people close to us, it won't happen. If we prefer to have the acceptance, to have the belonging and the support of others, rather to change ourselves and risk that we'll be and ending up alone. So if we are just even trying to shift our minds, change our behaviors to even eat more healthy or whatever, but if people around us are just encouraging us to eat pizza, pasta, whatever, it's hard to just change that, just laughing at you that what are you doing? Why you're eating so healthy? It's fine, you're healthy, fine. Don't worry about it. What will happen in 50 years? Who knows, So, okay, you just, as people are saying, you're just impacted by all the people around you. The Without that, without the support, you cannot change, and without the repeatable process daily, preferably, you won't change also. So it comes down to the very basics of what I've already said: your mind, people around you, the motivation, and constant effort to change it. The more you put it, the more smoothly it will change.
Absolutely. And I quite like, and thank you so much for walking us through that. That's like a master class in, living your best life right there. And I like, the consistency aspect that you brought in there because it's like showering. You can't just shower once and then you think that's it, or shaving,
Yeah.
if you don't shave, then it gets out of place. Now, as we wrap up, how can our viewers maybe connect with you and learn more about the incredible work that you're actually doing?
The best way, as I'm more active there, would be on LinkedIn with Greg Hinc. And there I put most of my stuff as well as some of the tools I use. All the knowledge, pretty much all my notes are shared there in the features section. So you can just go there and download it directly. And that's the best way to contact me. I'm daily active, so you can always reach out to me, set a call, a free call just to discuss what you need, how can I support you, if I can support you. And from there, we can just go further. How can I support you? If it is either life or business, coaching, consulting, counseling, any facilitation, teaching, inspiration, you can find everything there.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much for opening the gates for us to actually get started with you there. Now, I just wanted to take you back a little bit, I mean, to the time when you were really making an attempt on your life. And that would have been a very tough moment. Let's just say you clicked onto YouTube, if YouTube was present there, and you saw a video, but the video was your future self. What would you have wanted to hear at that moment from the Greg that we now spoke to today, who's now the inspirer of curiosity?
Mhm. For sure, I would mention that you have to change your way of thinking. That's what the basic what I'm just repeating over and over and over. So, uh, not everything you think is the truth, and everything you think is not the whole truth. So, unless you change what you're thinking, it's fixed, and that's the end. But it's not have to be. So that's the most important. And from this, pretty much everything starts. From the open mind and willing to learn, willing to change.
Absolutely. And I think that's a really good message there for even anyone that's watching. But knowing what you're doing and knowing who you're becoming, I think you're only just getting started. What do you reckon is your vision for the future, or what sort of legacy do you hope to leave behind?
Mhm. That's one of the things I've started this year. So I've shared pretty much all my notes that I had put into the OneNote file. that what I've checked is more than 260 pages in PDF once it's conversed. And I put all the tools on coaching, all the knowledge on psychology, management, mindset on the business side. I'm just fully going into changing myself, just not keeping everything for myself, and, cracking my ego fully, just sharing all I have, all the best stuff I can, and also switching more from, let's say, strictly knowledge based and tools, which was kind of boring for me. I'm sharing more on the philosophical side, more on the my way of thinking, my way of reflecting. So I'm even more challenging people to think differently and see things differently. And I would love to even further deep dive into it. And through this, the most important, changing yourself and going into more into reflection. That's what I'm trying to live with the world and just sharing my knowledge. So don't people don't have to spend 1,000 hours like me to acquire all of this, you know. So yeah, improving the world as we all do, right?
Absolutely. Well, let me tell you something, my man. You've inspired my own curiosity. And I think to the person that's watching here right now, you've really got them to get out of the status quo and actually see that there is a world full of possibilities out there, which is way higher than you can imagine. I mean, if you took yourself from the brink of suicide to now being the inspirer of curiosity, I think that is something remarkable. So thank you so much, first of all, for doing that job to yourself, because now you've got a good story to tell on the Online Prosperity Show.
It's been pleasure. Thank you for inviting and thank you for your work, both on your personal safety as well as supporting others in sharing their journey and through this sharing the knowledge and the inspiration to just change yourself and be more than you I think you are.
Absolutely. And that, my dear listener, wraps up another enriching episode of the Online Prosperity Show. A huge thank you to my guest, Greg, for sharing his wisdom, his humor, and his journey with us today. But I want you to remember, if you're watching this right now, if you now want to dive a little bit deeper into your own self-discovery and unlock your true potential, I think Greg is the guide that you never knew you needed. All right. So I'm going to put all his links in the show notes below so that you guys can connect, and hopefully you would actually start pulling yourself out of that status quo and you can see a world of possibilities that you never thought existed. And also, while you're at it, don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can check out more insightful conversations like these. Because when we get into this, we also don't know what's going to come out of it. And like I said, this is going to be yet another, one of the best episodes we've had in a very, very long time. So, Greg, I can't thank you enough for, sharing with us today.
A pleasure to be here, pleasure to talk with you. It was a great journey, and I hope we'll meet again and to be able to talk with our viewers and share more of the knowledge and insights.
Absolutely. Well, until next time, embrace curiosity. And I want you to keep chasing those dreams and always, always, always choose your greater future, because you never know what's in store. Now, this is Prosper and Greg. We're signing off. Stay prosperous, stay inspired. Bye for now.